Welcome to another episode, everyone. My babies, my Dash fam, my everything. On this all-new episode, my co-host might be one of the most interesting and intriguing co-hosts of this season. As of yet, okay?
Shut the fuck up.
He's known for being a circus, aerialist, an exorcist, digital nomad, and performing musician, with a background in many spiritual disciplines such as meditation, the paranormal, demonology, and so much more. He's here with us today to discuss his life travels and whatever comes up on this quirky episode of the Dash It Out show. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm your host, Vic Dash Store, and welcome to Dash It Out.
Don't hold back how you feel. Welcome to the platform for the misunderstood and creatives alike. So roll a joint and pour a shot. You're listening to the Dash It Out podcast, the show that brings your after hours talk to daytime. No wrong opinions and all unfiltered. With your host, Vic Dash Tour.
I'm a bit intrigued about this particular episode. Very, very intrigued just for the many facets in which he works in particularly. And I'm a bit nervous, but it's part of the adrenaline rush, right? Learning new things, meeting new people, and yeah, I'm definitely excited for this one. I'm kind of curious to know what type of topics that we're going to kind of go down. I mean, of course, I have my own set of particular questions I want to ask, but at the same time, it's like, what all are we going to talk about? And if what we're going to talk about, is it really going to go deeper than what I expected, to the point where I'm going to have to take a breather and throw in some holy water and, kind of pray and meditate for a bit? But yeah, we'll see. This is definitely going to be something worth talking about. So, let's do it. Sadhu?
Yes!
Sadhu? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Truly do appreciate your patience, consideration, and understanding.
Yeah,
That
no
must
worries.
come from all the meditation.
You look pretty
That must come
dapper.
from... Thank you, buddy. Thank you. You look pretty. You look sharp yourself.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you have a lot going on right now. It's kind of... Yeah, anyways, let's get to the show.
The dress down look. All right, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, but I do love it. So I went ahead and introduce you to everybody. Can you go ahead and, speak a little bit more about yourself and who you are and what you're about? But first of all, how are you doing?
I'm actually I'm in an interesting state of self-management myself. So I tend to have
you got it.
quite a bit of anxiety from time to time. And I just came out of like a 7-hour long anxiety trip, and I'm feeling a lot better now. Much better.
Definitely feel you with that. I struggle with anxiety myself, and I've been trying to get the hang of it. But that's good. I'm glad that you're getting the hang of it, and you're definitely managing what it is that you're going through. But like I said, I went ahead and already introduced you to everybody, but can you just go ahead and elaborate as far as who you are and what you're about?
So I am known as Sadhu Dah in a lot of different circles, and in general, I teach meditation, offer spiritual healing, do paranormal investigative work, and help people that are afflicted negatively by the paranormal. But that's really the simplest way of putting it. I'm a bit of a digital nomad as well. Currently in the Philippines, just got back from Vietnam and was in Sri Lanka before that, and heading back to Thailand after that. So yeah, I kind of just travel around the world, do things that I want to do, help people in whatever ways that I can, and just try to learn more and more along the way as I do it.
You're so fucking fascinating. You do know that, right?
I appreciate that.
Not only do you look amazing, but you have an amazing life, and I just want to say that.
Well, when you figure out how to be yourself, I guess some part of that is attractive to the world.
Yeah, it's very attractive.
Everything's sacred and holy. Would you please shut your yapper?
It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like, I'm kind of like man crushing right now. It's like I can feel your vibe, your energy. You definitely have a great aura.
Correct.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
No problem. So you're located up. So
A few moments later.
you originally. So how many places? How many countries have you been? And maybe even some continents.
It's 29 by now, I think, around 29.
Got you.
Yeah,
Got
it's
you. And right now
still
you're in the
doesn't feel like a
Philippines.
lot. Yeah, in the Philippines right now. I'll be back in Thailand. That's where I'm based. So I mainly live in Thailand about 6 months out of the year. And then every month or every other month, I could be anywhere.
Interesting. How long have you been in the Philippines?
I've been doing this for a few years now. So during COVID, I kind of got stuck in Thailand for a bit. And then I just kind of decided I was going to figure things out. I was going to make it work. And then as time has passed, it's not that I dislike or have any resentment towards the US, but I just, there's so much in this world. And I wouldn't say never, but at least for a considerable time being in the future, I don't really plan on going back.
I mean, hey, I love that. I love that for you. Out of curiosity, I'm kind of curious. Are you a believer in astrology?
I do believe a bit in astrology for what I know. That is not something I am extremely well versed in. My knowledge lies more in like animism, traditional indigenous type of shamanism, specifically of the Southeast Asian variety.
May I ask, what's your sign? Like, what's your zodiac sign?
I am a Libra, so
A Libra.
I'm a bit about that balance, that elegance, and whatnot.
I do. I like you. I love my Libras. I love my Libras. My sister's a Libra. I have a few close friends who are Libras. Significant other I'm dating is Libra. I mean, we wouldn't really call it dating, but yeah. But yeah, Libras are y'all fun, y'all cool, y'all one of the most y'all the lovers. Y'all one of the lovers of the zodiacs, and I can get behind that. I'm a Virgo, so you know how that goes. We are very affectionate. We can be a little critical, mainly on ourselves and towards other things, but not so much. We're not hypercritical. We just can be critical, but we down to earth. We lovers. We givers. We analytical, but for the most part, we big hearts. We are literally the mothers of the zodiac sign. So we got your back when you fall, and then when you lift it up, we definitely will put you up more. So yeah. That makes sense, and it's funny because if I remember correctly, Libras is actually influenced by Venus, and Venus actually rules Friday, in which this episode has been recorded on. So this energy is kind of more your
I'm
day.
in my power.
Exactly. So I know a little bit about astrology. Like, I'm a little bit of a spiritual buff myself. I'm not a digital nomad, in which I kind of want to get into that a little bit. What is a digital nomad?
So a digital nomad, and it's so fascinating because this has only become possible in like maybe the past 10, 15 years. This wasn't really a job per se before. And so what I've come to see is that you have many different types of digital nomads as far as the type of work that they do. But I think there are really only two exact types. And one is somebody that developed a skill base intentionally to be able to work remotely in whatever field that is. So they've developed a skill base that allows them to get jobs where they are able to work remotely, whether for themselves or for an employer that employs them and they're allowed to work remotely. The other type is ones who just got damn lucky. They landed the right job, right circumstances, etc. I never thought that I would be a digital nomad or actually want to be a digital nomad. I just happened to take my savings and, I built a couple of online businesses, and then those started to feed into each other. And then I found a way to kind of expand it a bit more. And I'm not a filthy rich man by any means, but I'm comfortable. I'm not worried about where I'm going to sleep or what I'm going to eat next. and I'm able to freely explore and travel the way I want to. And for me, that's enough.
So what it is that you do exactly as far as work-wise? Because you are very versed. You have a very diverse portfolio.
Yeah. So one of the things is I sell Thai amulets like this, for example. So I have an Etsy shop, and I've spent a considerable amount of time learning and training with monks and shamans known as Ajahn or Lucy in Thailand. And I've learned how to make some of these amulets. And I also know where to source them, where to buy them, how to find them. Some of them are kind of like rare collectible ones. Like if you know what it is, like you're looking for it if you're in that market. And so I've quickly cornered this market because I can speak English. I'm very educated in what it is that I'm selling. And one of the other things, which I will admit is a bit of a privilege, is some of the most famous and well-known monks or like shamans and like masters in Thailand happen to be some of my teachers. Like Ajahn Ung, Lompo Itnine, Ajahn Kao, Ajahn Sang Kung Wet. You know, these names might mean nothing to you, but in this small niche field that I work in, they're like celebrities. They're very, very well known.
Exactly.
So I sell these amulets online, and I ship back to the U.S. like every month, every other month to an employee I have that's also one of my students. And then I have a YouTube channel and a Patreon where I document all my travels and, you know, spiritual ceremonies and rituals that I participate in. And I kind of show people a day in my life. And then I also have basically my website where I have people come to me for different services, whether that be doing some type of magic workings for them, taking them on as students and teaching them from the diverse field of things that I've learned over the years. And that pretty much sums up my whole business in, you know, a neat little bow.
See, I knew that this was going to be a very interesting episode. Didn't I tell y'all my co-host was going to be mad fucking cool, okay? Like I'm always saying it's radiating anyway. I'm already just radiating with energy. And the fact that you contacted me around 6 in the morning, asking about the show, that's when we recorded at 9 o'clock. I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely the crack of dawn, bringing in the day type of guy.
It's 9:18 p.m. over here in the Philippines.
I was actually in bed because I was going to get up anyway. And I was just like, should I go ahead and just send him an update as far as like what's going on for the show today? I was like, I'm just gonna wait to see here and just be in my mind for a minute because I usually don't get on my phone or watch TV for like the first 30 to 40 minutes of me waking up. So I kind of just wake up and kind of take in a day for a minute. I know some were just like, nah, get on your phone. That's when I had to grab my phone real quick and was just like, oh, then do. And I see you and I'm just like, yeah, let me go ahead and just let him know like what's happening. But then it's like everything happened and then the production crashed. Like literally as soon as I sent you the link to come onto the show. And it was like, what in the? But you know what? It's cool. A little 3 minutes behind schedule doesn't hurt nobody. The Lord knows in my 9 to 5, I'll be an hour late. Yeah. So moving on. So you said you perform on the stages in Bangkok. You perform on stages in Bangkok and Bali. And you may mention that you were seeing some unbelievable things. What are these unbelievable things you were referring to? Was it like metaphysical?
So in regards to like, we can circle back, but in regards to like the performing on stages, so like I've been doing music for years, so I'm a singer, and one of the things I specialize in is like freestyling with whatever the band is that's playing will play, okay. And I just kind of go with it, and I've gotten, you know, it's unbelievable to me because it's like a childhood dream come true. I've gotten to sing and perform on stage with so many cool, amazing artists and in like exotic destinations. Even recently in Sri Lanka, I was, his name's Randir, and I had no idea who he was. And he was the guy who made hip hop and rap a thing in the 90s in Sri Lanka. Like he made the music scene for all rap that comes out of Sri Lanka, all Sri Lankan rap now. That man, Randir, was the one who started it. And I just met him at this club. and like now we're good friends. So like that was like one thing you mentioned that, but the unbelievable things I've seen. I've seen so many things that we could constitute or qualify as miracles, or truly paranormal and quote unquote unexplainable phenomena. And some of that's been through like casework I've done where I've gone to help people who are being spiritually afflicted, and others have been in some of the ritual and ceremony workings in Thailand. Like I've seen, we have what's called like a poke. Poke is like, he's like a big, he's a god in the Thai traditions. And he looks like an old man with these like big buck teeth. And so there's usually a mask, and it'll sit on a Lucy's altar or a Najan's altar. And I've seen this happen more than once, where they light a cigarette and they put it in the mouth of the Lucy, and it smokes itself like a fool. And there's nothing inside this mask. That shouldn't be possible.
No lungs or nothing.
No, it's just an empty shell. It's just a mask. There's no ventilator or pump or anything. It's just a mask, and it'll smoke. And sometimes the eyes will move. The eyes are painted on. They shouldn't be able to move. They're not like doll eyes. So I've seen some weird things. Another notable thing I saw, there's been a lot, but we were doing a ceremony to call, it was for Lumpo Kak. He's a very famous monk who's been passed for 6 years now. And at his White Cruise ceremony of honoring, they said we were going to call him here. And at one point, there was a chair sitting over by the wall, and it wasn't a rocking chair. There was nothing on it, and the chair just starts like vibrating and shaking back and forth. And then I'm just like, I'm talking to like my master, my teacher, which was one of his disciples, one of Lumpo Kak's disciples, Lucy Lek Bhakti. And I'm like,
what the fuck,
like,
dude?
What's going on here? And he looks at me like I'm a child, like, asking a question. He's like, we said we called Lumpo Kak come, don't you know? I'm just like, now I know. I've seen monks levitate, I've seen monks burn themselves with fire and swallow hot wax and blow it out and be completely unharmed. I've seen some incredible things in this world that have just made me realize that, there's more going on here than any of us really can understand.
No, seriously. I definitely have my fair share of the paranormal myself. A little fun fact, everybody, here on the Dash It Out show, which you did not know about me. I rarely talk about it, but I used to be an occultist. I used to study the occult. I studied the Kabbalah. I've worked with numerous deities and spirits and other worldly forces. One of the forces they call is like when you have your own personal guardian angel, which is something that you would start learning about in the Kabbalah and whatnot. So I got to like a lot of sigil magic and was working with a lot of things that honestly I didn't have mentors or monks and shamans, which I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But it was kind of like one of those things in which you was like so intrigued about that you just learned about. But instead of me actually taking the time to stop and learn and get some type of mentorship, I was just so impulsive and I was just ready to just get into it. And some of the things I've learned was some things you do not need to fuck around with, especially if you are not
there,
equipped
brother.
to handle that shit.
I've been there.
Because it's like releasing a genie, right? That genie is now invited to you until you fulfill your obligated duties and vice versa. So I've had a lot of spiritual attacks, some of which I caused myself, some unintentionally, because I just opened up that can of worms and it was kind of hard to put it back in. I've dealt with things in which I was trapped in my body on a spiritual realm numerous occasions.
Help me.
And I've also done like unbelievable things myself. You say with you was like you saw the monks levitating. Mine wasn't so much that. The thing is, because I was doing so much shadow work, it was that I was working with other spirits and entities that, in a sense, it came off as supernatural, but for me, it was just like just that world. So, in that world, the laws of physics doesn't apply to a degree. But
Well,
of course,
they
you have
do,
the
but in a
universal law.
different degree.
Yeah, in a different degree. The universal law is forever there, but to a certain degree, it doesn't apply as much. So definitely, it was a transformative experience, and I have not done anything since. I have not done anything since. Some people think I'm crazy, but I could have sworn I was. I could swear that I was walking. I was time warping or walking feel like I was walking in between worlds. It's like I was walking between the spiritual realm, walking to the everyday life world, and it was like kind of crazy because it was just this sense of feeling like, okay, like how you can just travel from country to country and city to city. It kind of felt like that, and it was very intriguing because what I would bring back with me. But sometimes it wouldn't always be good, because I would never know how to ground myself. I would never really know how to release. And it was just always this open portal, and I was also acting as a conduit for these spirits and energies. So sometimes I would channel them, but I would never really close that conduit. I would never close it. And things would happen, I would feel it, and it was just got to the point where I did get possessed. And I got possessed, and it was really, really, really crazy. And you mentioned previously that well, in your bio, that you done a lot of exorcism. So yeah, I had to have an exorcism on me numerous occasions. Yeah, it's a really deep, dark truth here on the dash that I'll show everybody. Yes, okay, I've done it. I've done a lot of cultic study, but like you said, the world is vast. There's so much here, and I typically believe it's not about what you do; it's about how you do it. And that's the reason why I feel as though with you is so interesting, and the reason why I want you to come onto the show because I can relate with you. You like my spiritual brother from another mother.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can relate. I can definitely relate as far as seeing some unbelievable, crazy fucking shit. And yeah, and the mask with the smoking, the eyes moving, and oh yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's all about electromagnetism and understanding when you're working in this metaphysical dimension, or more so appropriately, as we would say, like quasi-physical existence of things, of different energies. Your heart emanates an electromagnetic field. The University of HeartMath has conducted studies, and they've shown this, and they've used varying different measuring technologies, like it was something like for sonar with submarines, and they did a bunch of different experiments. But we've moved past the age of is the paranormal and the spiritual real. It's now a matter of, have you done your research, because we can show that these types of things exist, and we can explain, even with Western science now, why it's possible. And that's what's so funny to me about people who are still very skeptical is, I'm skeptical as well until you can prove it to me, or until I can have an experience and some sort of explanation that can clearly show me what's going on. That's the only reason why I believe in ghosts and spirits and things like this, is because I know they exist. So I don't think you're crazy at all, my brother. In fact, we can explain these things.
Exactly. And the thing is, my thing is, I was never very skeptical, mind you. I've always been open. I always felt the calling. I always felt like there was something more. And my journey started actually at the age of 13. 13 was like the growing stage, learning, going out, starting to really see and feel spirits, all that other stuff. So when I started diving into it more, was until about 14. 14 was like the baby stages, 15, 16, baby stages. It wasn't until I graduated high school at the age of 17 is when it really started going for me, when I really started getting to high intense magic and working with deities and guys, and actually calling them up, summoning them. And of course, I had a lot of protection. I worked with a lot of various herbs, and of course, in certain spiritual phase, you do a thing where you kind of call, the watchtowers, or you call your guardian angels, or you call some call familiar spirits. you would call it the aid of the spirit that you work with, or the spirits that you know, ancestors or whatnot, to help guide you with the working with this deity. Like that was when things started getting a little getting into it. It wasn't until I started like really working with sigil and started really getting into the Kabbalah as much when I really started to like transform. I started to really see my world warp and started going to other dimensions and other places and stuff like that is when it really started taking on. And of course, the more you come in contact with these entities, the more you start going to these dimensions, you yourself start to develop a sense of power as well. Your power start to come into being as more. But like they say, the more power you have, the more responsibility you have. Not to quote Spider-Man. Okay, but
these
so it
tropes,
was,
they exist for a reason.
yeah. And these definitely stages, if I'm correct. There's stages. Now, when you said you took time studying with certain monks and forest shamans in Asia, what were some of the things they taught you?
What's really fascinating is if we take a look back, just a brief little history lesson for you. The region known as Siam is what modern day Thailand is now. But back then, before like the 14th century, it wasn't a Buddhist region. And you had a lot of influence of like Burmese nat worship from Myanmar, Burma. And then you had like Bareng, which is like some of the strongest, scariest black magic you could ever come across. Scarier than some types of like African like black magic that you might hear about. That comes from Cambodia. And you had like Cambodian Bareng, you had Myanmar, like Burma, like Nat worship. And then you also had the Lana people of like northern Thailand and some of the Karen tribes, their rural practice, their indigenous practices. And then you had all of this old world shamanism, right? Like worshiping the spirits of the land, etc. And then you had Buddhism come in around the 14th century. And you can't stamp out and separate something that's already existed for so long. So what happened was it kind of merged together over the years. And now you have monks that'll make magical amulets and give them away or sell them. And that is not part of Buddhism. And yet it's so seamlessly interwoven in Theravada Buddhism, Thai Buddhism. And then you have these forest shamans who practice a lot of this magic, and a lot of the katas or the chants that they use, the mantras, right? They're all based in Pali, which is the same language that's used in the temples when you hear the monks chanting Namo Tatsa, like the homage to the triple gems, honoring the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And so one of the correlations I found, which is so fascinating, is we have something that's called a Hunpan, or also Hunpan. And what a Hunpan is, translates from Thai as a magic robot guardian. And it is one-to-one the same with in ceremonial magic traditions. We talk about servitors and stuff, right? You have these constructed energetic thoughts that create a living function. Can use a sigil or an object of desire, and you can create a servitor, or also known as an egregore, right? So in Thailand, we have the same thing, but it's called a hunpan. And there's a couple of different ways to make them, and this is what's so fascinating about it. So one way is you can use condensed like psychic energy, and you can embed it in what they would do for the farmers to stop bandits from coming in the fields and things like that, was they would embed a straw figure with it. And then when they weren't around, you would see a shadow being walking around in the home like a sentinel, and there's standing guards. The hunpan is protecting the home. It's not really sentient in the way that you can communicate with it, but it is sentient in the way that it will enact its task. It will function and enact its task. The other way of making a hunpan is very fascinating, and that is you'll have some monks that will go to death row inmates. And these monks will go to these death row inmates, and they will basically bring a contract with them, and they'll say, look, I know that there's nothing we can do. You're going to die for the sins you've committed, your crimes, like Nobody can save you here. But what about your next life? Do you want to have better incarnation? Do you want to have more merit, more karma, and like go ahead and work away some of that from this life? If so, what we can do is you allow us, when you pass away, to use some of your material, your pride ingredient, as they call it. So human material like this, have paneng, which is the forehead bone of a dead warrior. So this is an actual forehead bone of a dead soldier. And this is for like protection against black magic and negative spirits, and also helps with business. So what they do is they'll make some of these amulets and they'll give them away, and sometimes they'll be sold, and it is supposed to generate good things, manifest good things for a person physically here in the now. And what that transmutes to is it creates good karma and good merit for that spirit, who then, once they eventually cross over, they take that accumulated, basically, bank account of new karma, generated karma, and they're able to wipe away. It's not that the bad karma goes away. It's that they kind of counterbalance it with the good deeds they've done before being reborn again. So, like, that's some of the differences of, like, the Thai magic and, like, the ceremonial magic. We're talking about and doing some of the same things. We're just doing it in a different way. So, you know, there's so many similarities you can find in the traditions. And that's one of the most fascinating things to me about this work.
Wow. That was a lot to take in a good way, but wow. Okay. Let me just go ahead and just kind of like backtrack a little bit. It was something you was talking about, and how they would take the straw figure and like kind of create like a spiritual warrior that would protect the home, protect the person.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of when I was doing my studies, and it was considered a golem. Okay.
Yes.
And so I can definitely understand that. It's kind of the same, but not different traditions, but you know, kind of the same ideologies.
In Thailand, we say
the purpose of it.
We have a saying which is very famous, like it not just in Thailand but in Asia, and that's same but different.
Yeah, same but different. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to take in. I love it. Cool. Okay, so so we're gonna go ahead and move it along. That was a lot, and I love it. So, are you up for playing a little game here on the show called the Dash Stash, Mr. Sadhu Dah?
Sure. I like games.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so this is the Dash Stash. Now, essentially, the Dash Dash is just pretty much a hypothetical scenario in which you would just fill in the blanks. It don't have to be literal. It's just a little something to kind of figure out a little bit more who you are, but at the same time, kind of to alleviate the tension in the room. It is this tension, but it's good. It's good tension. It's good energy. Like, I love it. It's good energy. I feel overwhelmed with excitement, and yeah, I feel those electrical pulses in which you were speaking about with the heart, kind of like pum 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 pum. It's coming from you. You did that. Okay, so let's play the Dash Dash. You're welcome.
Okay.
So, the first question. Something that I wish I've known is blank, and what I wish I can forget is blank.
Something I wish I had known. I guess something I wish I had known would be the path of going inward isn't as complicated as we search for and think and try to figure it out. When you actually do it, it's much more simple, which is so frustrating because you have to, like, it has to be hard first for you to figure out how simple it really is. So that, yeah, I guess something I wish I would have known. It doesn't have to be that hard. And then, what was the other part of that?
And what I wish I can forget.
What I wish I could forget would be the knowledge of some of the pain I've caused people in this world.
I feel that. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, especially in the beginning stages of everything. Yeah, that, yeah. I can really feel that. No, you're really going into the stash. Okay, next question. I've I've seen blank and it made me feel blank.
I've seen pure, energetic compassion, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I've seen the stuff, as I call it, and it made me feel overwhelmed and at peace at the same time.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. All I need was blank, but instead all I got was blank.
All I need was just like love and safety and security and encouragement in childhood. But all I got was a crash course in how the world really works, unfortunately.
Grew up too soon. Gotcha. Okay. The universe said that I could blink.
The universe said that I could just be.
Right? I mean, that's all. Just be. Just be you. Be the light. Be the light that you was meant to be. You're definitely doing that. You're shining brighter than my studio lights. Okay, let's stop. Okay. Focus. Okay, here we go. If I could breathe underwater, I would rather live in a body of water such as blank.
I feel like I'd rather live in like the Mariana Trench, because if I could breathe,
What?
if I could breathe water, well, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how deep it really is, do we? Like, I don't think we actually
True.
really measured the depth of it. So
Sadhu Dah, that's definitely
What?
something you would say. Could you definitely explore?
like, I would want to just see what's going on there. Might be scary, might be cool.
Right. Interesting. I love it. Hey, look. Get into that stash, okay? This key unlocks blank to do blank. I repeat. This key unlocks blank to do blank.
This key unlocks... That's a cool one. Okay. This key unlocks anything you want to be everything you've ever needed.
Okay. This key unlocks everything you want to do everything that's needed. So it's the universe. It's a universal key. It's literally a skeleton
universal key.
for the world. Do you have one of those? Let me have it. You don't need it.
If I find one on eBay, I'll let you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let me know, because I have some few doors I need to open up and some I need to shut permanently. You know. But yeah, that's concluded. This concludes the dash, everybody. That was enlightening. That was definitely enlightening. I feel like I got to know you a little bit more just from that little brief segment. That's the reason why I love playing the dash here on the Dash It Out show, because it just allows you to just kind of get outside yourself a little bit. It kind of does both, right? This might sound derivative, but it allows you to go into yourself to come out yourself, and so pretty interesting, pretty intriguing, and yeah. But anyways, so can you tell the listeners and everyone exactly and where they can find your amazing works, and if you have anything coming up in the future, just let everyone know.
Yeah, so if you want to find like my YouTube, my blog, like my shop, everything that I do, the easiest way is just go to my website, which is www.thesadhudah.com, TheSadhu.com. thesadhudah.com. And yeah, what I have coming up soon is I'm teaching a retreat for some students in Thailand. We'll be in Chiang Mai on the 1st of September, and that's a 5-day retreat. I got another one coming up in Nepal in March of next year. And other than that, yeah, I'm going to just go travel around this world and do my little thing.
Nice, as you should. My little digital nomad, my little spiritual companion. No, definitely. I really felt the vibes with you. Definitely was a good one. I told everyone this was going to be a great episode. Yeah. So anyways, all your information is going to be linked in the description. wherever the description box is nowadays. But I know on the Dash It Out Show website, it's going to be listed at the bottom. No, I'm lying. We always changing that shit. But it's going to be somewhere. But yeah, so Sadhu Dah, once again, thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, definitely stay in touch. I would really like to, talk a little bit more. Probably try to, figure some things out on my own end, because I think I need help kind of like getting rid of some negative energy as of lately,
Well, you know how to get a hold of me now.
Not for real. I had a house guest who overstayed their welcome, and when it was time for them to go, it was like there was so much negative energy that was just kind of like, I wasn't trying to be a dick, but you did stay here for almost a month when it was just a one night of just hanging out and chilling and vibing, turning up, and understand you're going through tough times, but when you try to help somebody, and I heard an old proverb, give a man a fish, you feed him for the day. You teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Well, it doesn't matter how many times I taught this fucker took a whole crash course and still was reluctant to do anything for himself. At that point, I cannot subject myself to that type of negative energy, because like they say, you are who you hang out with. And my thing is but I'm the type of person, I give people the benefit of the doubt. I give people a second chance. That's that mother spirit of the Virgo that I was telling you about. Like we nurturers, okay? We nurturers until we're not. Now we gotta get out of my house.
Damn.
But no, he's a really great guy. I really have strong faith and belief in him. I am praying for him. I am wishing him the best. But it's just that negative energy that kind of, my space, like when I'm thinking, it's like, I just feel as though cause I was contemplating about just buying a sage stick and just kind of smudging the place and then hitting the floors with some basil. That's typically what I do. That's my little thing. I kind of like get some basil, put in some water, throw a little rosemary in it, and it kind of like mop the floors with it. And depending on where I want the energy, if I want the energy to come into the house, I will go from the front inwards. But if I'm cleansing, I cleanse it outward and I bring in positive. So I will go from the front door to the back. But if I'm getting out the negative energy, I kind of like, open the door and kind of like push it out, fan it out the window or whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of like my things I do to kind of like ground and center myself within my own space. But everyone have different tactics and different tools. I'm pretty sure you have something different that you do. But yeah, that's a little something about me. I haven't done it in quite some time, but it's definitely effective. For all the skeptics
Can I give
out
you
there.
a little boost here?
Sure.
If I may, yeah. So there is nothing wrong with maintaining and holding boundaries, and you can do it and still be nurturing and loving and accepting and promoting growth with people. But I feel like sometimes we kind of feel like if we put up boundaries that takes away. But if anything, at least what I feel like in my own experience is that when we make boundaries clear and we hold those boundaries, we show how much we're willing to give, and anything taken past that, it's okay to say you can't take that. So that would be like my little piece is it's okay to hold boundaries. You can still give, but boundaries are so important.
Words to live by. Thank you, buddy. I really need to hear that. It's something I'm kind of been working on myself. It's focusing on creating healthy boundaries and reinforcing those boundaries. Like you said, just because I'm creating healthy boundaries and staying and sticking with them does not take away from the good. And it doesn't take away from continually to be able to show good and do good. So I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate that. That was very heartfelt. That was definitely needed. Very crucial for this time right now in my life. And yeah, thanks again. Thanks again just for coming on the show. This for being you. Like,
I appreciate it.
You so fucking amazing. Okay, go because yeah, he got me all worked up and stuff. And yeah. So, anyways, hey, okay, everybody, that was just we're gonna officially conclude this episode. But let's give another round of applause. Let's give the biggest round of applause to my co-host Sadhu Dah. Cheers. We're gonna throw some sound effects in there a little later. But anyways, buddy, thank you again for coming on the show. I'm your host Vic Dash Tour, and this concludes the Dash It Out Show.